this one gal, she ordered a belt and she messaged us and she's like, I'm literally in tears right now. She's like, this is literally the coolest thing ever. I'm obsessed. And I was like, that, you can't replace that.
Howdy everybody, and welcome to episode 167 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. Today we have Darren Conroy, the co-founder of Aesthreadics Custom Weight Belts. Go to just about any NPC bodybuilding competition in the Pacific Northwest, and I can just about guarantee you'll see Darren in his Aesthreadics booth enthusiastically selling weight belts, custom gym swag, and even dog apparel. All for a very good reason, because the quality of his craftsmanship speaks for itself. Aesthreadics custom weight belts are popular among college sports training programs such as the University of Idaho Vandals, IFBB Pro Bodybuilders, and Powerlifters. After breaking my rib twice with my big Inzer Forever Lever powerlifting belt, which I do love still, Taylor and I thought it would be a wise move to invest into some more comfortable, everyday bodybuilding style lifting belts that can double as waist trainers for when the competition prep gets nitty gritty and it's time to use topical fat burners. Last Christmas, my wife Taylor and I bought each other custom Aesthetic lifting belts. It's the gift that keeps on giving, right? And we fell in love with them. So mine simply says Skullbellz with brown leather, and after using it in our YouTube videos for the last 6 months, by popular request, we placed a purchase order with Darren for 10 units of these identical to mine in various sizes. The athletes that have bought them so far are more than happy with the quality and use them regularly as well. Taylor wanted her belt to read Ezekiel 37:5b, which is our go-to meditation verse to prepare us for our most challenging workouts. It says, "Behold, I will cause breath to enter you, and you shall live." This reminds us that our strength comes inside and outside of the gym where it originates from, and that our training should enhance our lives, not take over our lives. Darren and his wife Jenna are not only elite athletes themselves, but they've made a huge impact in the world of bodybuilding as a whole in a way that inspires Taylor and myself as business owners every workout and every day. Darren, welcome to the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Digging those biceps, by the way. Can you?
Like
you said the off season was being good to you.
We're off season right now, so just feel skinny fat. But thank you, that's very kind.
No, man, you're looking jacked. What inspired you to begin designing custom weight belts in the first place?
Okay, so I love when people ask that question. So I'm gonna go back a little bit. So 2013. So yeah, it's already 10 years ago. I came from bodybuilding.com. I was in logistics for bodybuilding.com. Actually started in customer service, and then I moved on to logistics, and then I moved on to purchasing. So I saw a wide variety of everything within the fitness community, as well as, like, obviously the business side of it too. So that was, I think kind of gave me, kind of spearheaded my career, as I'll call it. I remember vividly sitting at my desk, and I was probably, maybe about 4 or 5 natural bodybuilding shows in. So obviously I'd been using a belt. I wanted to have that custom experience, and as a former athlete, I've been an athlete my whole life, whether I was playing basketball or football or baseball or whatever. Athletes, what athletes always have, they usually have a uniform. Was a uniform usually have, it usually has a name and number on the back, right? So yeah, I wanted a belt with my name on it. And at the time, again, I'm going back 10 years, one of my main competitors was really the only guy. I'm not really in the business of slamming people, but needless to say, he's been around since the early 80s. So he's doing something right. He makes a great belt, so I definitely won't downplay his work. But the kind of what I guess would appeared to me at that time was that these belts were very expensive, which is fine. I mean, as well as I do, Colton. If the quality's there, we'll spend the money for it. what really kind of hindered my experience with this particular company was the turnaround time. And I remember it was about 6 months for a custom belt, and that to me was a huge turnoff. And the more research I had done was, and I mean, I could be completely wrong with my speculation here, but this is just kind of my theory on it. The top tier 1% of your athletes, actors, maybe like your top 5 IFBB pros, I think this particular company catered exclusively to them. And when they needed something, they kind of dropped what they were doing. And, little old me in Boise, Idaho, that just wanted a belt with my name on it, I had to wait in line, with everybody else. So that kind of, I guess, kind of got my wheels turning. And, at the time I was just looking everywhere thinking that I would find something else. And at that time there was nothing else. It was really that way or no way. And, that just kind of essentially made me want to start looking into leather manufacturing and seeing, okay, well, why is it that his belt takes so long? Why, I had a lot of questions. And after about, I'd say about
your guys' turnaround time on our belt was super quick. I think you guys got them shipped like a week later or something. And even this last big PO that we placed, I mean, I spend more time on my salt suppliers waiting for their POs to show up. And I'm like, you just gotta pack it up and put it in a box, right? Like I can fly before if you need me to.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because we pride ourselves on speed, and that's really, as far as having, nobody ever wants to have, a lot of competition in the industry, but at this point in time, I actually kind of need him, because he makes us look good. And no, I mean, that's the X factor there. A lot of people ask us why we don't embroider on our belts, and I love when people ask me that question as well. Embroidery machines are incredibly slow. So I mean, if you're kicking out 500 to 1,000 belts a month, and you're at the mercy of the embroidery machine, it's it's just the biggest bottleneck that you could think of. So we made the decision to go the print route for efficiency. We found a great ink. We found ink that bonds well with leather. That's very I also want to say indestructible. I mean, you'd almost have to damage the leather itself to get the ink off the belt. And then of course, like with your belts, we offer the laser engraving option as well. Whereas, I mean, that's just a laser that's essentially cutting the leather up to the design that you want. So,
so just make sure I'm tracking with you. There's screen printing, there's embroiderment, and there's the last one you said was stitching.
So there's no stitching at all.
Laser cutting. Sorry.
Believe it or not, we actually have an embroidery machine here in our shop. We just don't use it because it's the snail in the room, man. It's just way too slow. So, screen printing, no. We actually have a digital printing machine. Okay. So it's a UV cure, which is really cool. When you go to the dentist, they have, they put the glasses on you, and you have the the UV light that's basically is curing your fillings. Yeah. I don't know if you ever had that experience, but yeah.
I had that experience yesterday, actually. Just got a filling.
Okay. Well, there you go. So that's how our ink is cured on our belts. So it's incredibly durable, and it works. It allows us to be not only very detailed with the images that we're putting on the leather, but it allows us to be incredibly efficient as well. So, I mean, we can turn these belts out really, really fast, which is nice. And I feel that that's kind of made us kind of a hybrid company. We're able to fulfill a lot of wholesale orders. Yeah. We do belts for Dark Sport, the clothing line. I mean, that company, they're blowing up like crazy. So we fill all their belts order, all their belt orders. We obviously work with the WWE, the wrestler Cody Rhodes. We make.
Whoa! I didn't realize that you work with WWE. That's
amazing. Huh. As of we've been working with them for just over a year now. Last year is when all the confetti fell from the ceiling. It was incredible, man. I have a home gym and I was getting a couple of sets in at my gym, and my phone rings, and it says World Wrestling Entertainment on it, and that was just, you know, I mean, to this day, it's, you know, it just kind of blew my mind. That doesn't happen very often, and yeah, no, I mean, for them to want to reach out and to want to work with us, they had you know, they had a couple of our belts in their possession. They liked the quality of the product, and you know, we had a great conversation, and you know, we've been obviously producing belts for them ever since. Last quarter was, you know, one of our biggest quarters with them. I mean, we had 8 pallets of belts lined up here in our shop, and yeah, it's been awesome. And since then, WWE has actually teamed up with Fanatics. I don't know if you're familiar with the Fanatics website, but they sell merchandise, NBA, NFL, NCAA, and they've now partnered with the WWE. So we actually provide belts for Fanatics via WWE, and then we provide the belts directly to WWE for all of the you know, the events. You know, when, you know, they travel around, and wherever Cody pops up, usually there's a group of belts that follow him.
Wow.
So yeah,
congratulations, dude. That's amazing.
thanks.
Going back to when you initially started back in your bodybuilding days, actually, just real quick, like, could you sum up your bodybuilding history, your competitive history? I'm not
sure.
I'm not super familiar with it.
So where it all officially started, so bodybuilding.com used to do a oh gosh, what did they call it? It was it was the bodybuilding.com spokesmodel. I don't know if you remember when they were doing that. I'm going back a few years.
Yeah, because I was super into bodybuilding.com around the year of 2017, kind of when I just started.
Okay.
Getting started. Like, so all their articles, Craig, CAPURSO, everybody else.
Yeah, okay, yep. Craig, yeah, he was one of our spokesmodels. Yeah, Craig was a good guy.
What? No, we had him on our show like 50 episodes ago, actually.
No way. No, that's awesome. Yeah. The guy's got a wealth of knowledge. So
yeah, he's a patriot too. I love how he's got all these like clothing brands on the side and everything, and side projects. But
yeah, I mean, and
his second amendment hockey jerseys are super cool. It's just number 2 it says amendment for the name on the back.
Yep. No, it's good to see that he's obviously continuing. You know, he's keeping the flame burning. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm gonna go back. They started this this male spokesmodel. Well, they had a male and a female, and they started, I want to say 2009, 2010 ish. And I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Cook, but
yeah, big time.
So yeah, so Steve started also. Long story short,
I like Steve Cook a lot. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no, Steve's a good guy. He's actually from around here. He went to my rival high school. So yeah, he's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a small world. So we're getting ready to do this, you know, this male spokesmodel. And it was basically like a physique competition. And you know, keep in mind, I had this is 2010, so nobody knew what they were doing as far as physique went. It was that part of the, you know, that category was still evolving. Okay, so we knew that we wore board shorts, and we knew that we had to kind of go out there and, you know, strut our stuff. And you know, like I said, there was still a lot of, you know, just a lot of confusion, I guess, for lack of a better word. Well, you know, I got pretty lean, and you know, I was in good shape. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna enter this thing. Maybe, you know, maybe I can win it, whatever. And they had different, it was almost like regional competitions. Then you'd go to the national competition. Well, they had one of the regional competitions in Boise, where I lived, so I entered it. And I remember I was hanging out with a couple of guys actually from Montana, and they were here for the competition as well. And everybody there was in great shape. And then I look over and I see Steve Cook walk in the door, and he's got a jumpsuit on. He's all covered up. And this is before Steve Cook was Steve Cook. You know, he had just started to get into competing, so no one knew who he was.
Wow.
And so he walks in, and you know, obviously I knew him. I'd worked out with him before, and the guy's just an animal. And I told these 2 Montana guys, I go, oh man, they go, we're all dead. And I go, you see the guy that just walked in over here? Yeah, I go, he's gonna win this whole thing. And they're like, you know, I mean, of course everybody's competitive. We're all guys. We're all, you know, talking trash, whatever. And you know, sadly for me, you know, my prediction came true, and he did win the whole thing.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and you know, obviously that spearheaded his career, you know, and then he became a great, you know, obviously a great contributor to the fitness industry. But after that show, and after being up there with board shorts on, I didn't have a good. Well, I mean, nobody likes to lose, but I just didn't feel very comfortable up there. And it actually, to turn a negative into a positive, I went into natural bodybuilding at that point, and you know, I'm 6'3", so for me to have good developed legs is kind of a, you know, it was always a huge
challenge. I'm 6'2", and I'm not even gonna complain if you're 6'3".
Yeah, so and obviously my legs were always my hand, you know, they were my Achilles, so definitely my weakest area. So, and I would just train and train and train and train and train. So at that point, I was like, well, I'm gonna do bodybuilding because I've worked way too hard on my legs to cover them up with board shorts. So, and I also keep in mind too that back then the physique competitors weren't they weren't the Brandon Hendricksons that we have now. These, you know, they weren't these mass monsters that, you know, that the sport has evolved into. But
it's kind of a shame the direction it has gone. There's some memes of like dudes the size of Phil Heath in board shorts, like, yeah, this is going to be 2030. What men's physique?
Right? I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, at that time, it was a safe play for me to enter bodybuilding shows. I could usually get very, very lean, and you know, and like I said, most of the shows that I had entered were in the NGA. So I mean, it was natural. You know, I'm not one of those guys that touts, you know, natural. I mean, people cross over, they cross over. You know, I can appreciate all of our IFBB pro bodybuilders that are out there right now. I mean, people love seeing Big Ramy. The guy's massive, you know, and it's a, you know, it's just a spectacle to see these guys. But you know, obviously I have a lot of respect for the natural guys too, because some of them look phenomenal, and for them not to, you know, obviously introduce any, you know, performance enhancing drugs and it to look like that is, you know, I got my ass kicked a lot by some of these other bodybuilders, and it was fun, you know. So kind of going back to your question, I started competing in 2010, and then I finally turned pro in the NGA in 2016, and then I crossed over and I started doing classic physique in the NPC.
I didn't realize you turned pro.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I mean,
what's the name of the federation again?
Is the NGA, which is the National Gym Association.
How is it? Do you like? I mean, because I got a handful of athletes now that all want their pro cards, obviously.
Yeah.
We're looking at.
I mean, it's, you know, I mean, the nice thing is, you know, all you have to do in order to turn pro in the NGA is win an overall, which is nice. You know, the challenge up here in the Northwest is there's just not a lot of NGA shows anymore. The NPC has really taken over this area, and of course now the OCB, they're kind of trying to you know, kind of pave their way up here. I know there's going to be an OCB show in Seattle. I believe there's going to be an OCB show here in Boise at some point. Mm-hmm. But the NGA, and again, you know, not to put down, you know, this, you know, federation in any way, but you know, it was very challenging at that time. I feel as though it's just lost a lot of steam here in the Northwest just because there aren't as many shows.
It's pretty small federations, man. It's just hard to keep them going. It's exactly. Like to get viewers as a company. It's like people don't want to see natural bodybuilders; they want to see the big guys, and it's
exactly
hard to keep naturally.
Yep, and I mean, for my own personal experience, that was actually the biggest. It was funny for me, you know, again as a natural guy, I knew that I could get lean, but there's that window that you have when you're pumped up and ready to go on stage. And I feel that the natural guys can only kind of carry that for so long. And where the, you know, if the other guys that are on, you know, whatever they're on, they can usually sustain the pump. They can feel those muscle bellies a little bit longer. And I mean, hell, half the time, even on stage, they're only getting better as they're going through their quarter turns. You know, they're getting even more pumped up. Whereas, you know, I'm starting to deflate a little bit. So it was fun banging heads with some of those other guys, but man, it was obviously the level of competition, you know, got.
Yeah. You know, did you see me compete this last year? I think
I did. You look great.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah,
Kind of the same idea. My mentality going in was just, all right, there's no way I'm going to win on muscularity. So my only chance at winning is out shredding everybody. And honestly, I dieted a little bit too hard. I got more shredded than like what was necessary. The judges were like, you need to fill out before your next show. And so I did, and then placed better than
got it.
so,
Well, and it's you know that's the challenge of competing too, because you could do the next show and then they're like, oh, you look great, come in leaner. So
right, exactly. It all is judging. I'm like,
that's the nature of the beast. Honestly, Colton, my philosophy, and I mean this is again kind of stemming from what you just said, is if you can come in, if you're doing classic physique or bodybuilding, obviously you want to come in as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Well, hell, I mean, even nowadays, even with men's physique, that's seems to be the going rate. But for me, I would always turn up the volume on all of my core training during prep. And obviously we know that we're dieting, we know that we're the six pack's going to show up. But for me, being a tall, lanky guy, I always felt that a really, really good detailed midsection just enhances everything around it. So, if I have a weak, cap on my shoulders, or, something, maybe my chest isn't where it should be, I feel like the judges really can't deny somebody that comes in just, lights out in the midsection. That's my philosophy. I could be completely full of crap, but that's the way that I've always looked at
it. I think most people would agree with you. I mean, what's the number one rule of aesthetics? Small waist, right?
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So, I definitely would love to get up on the stage again, and now I can enter the Masters and I can, bang heads with the old guys, which would be fun. But it's once first things first, we got to make the company a little bit more sustainable, and then I'll get back up there again.
That's kind of the season I'm at in my life right now too. I'm just like, man, to compete right now just would not be worth it. What would that accomplish? Absolutely nothing. Do I have a chance of becoming a pro this year? I don't know. But even if I did, I'm like, man, getting glute striations again, like that, you start forgetting people's names and stuff. You just don't feel like yourself. It hurts to sit down everywhere.
A long walk. It's definitely a long walk, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just a whirlwind of emotions. You kind of feel it all when you're doing prep. You learn a lot about yourself when you're prepping for a show, for sure.
Yeah, and then you're never the same afterwards. You don't think about food the same. You don't think about life the same. You don't think about like stress management. I mean, just everything, your entire outlook and who you are every moment of every day, never the same after you do a bodybuilding.
100%.
So on your ab training, that's really interesting because I'm actually the exact same way. I kind of follow Arnold's protocol with when it comes to abs, and so I actually never train them until it's competition time, and then it's more so for conditioning than it is building the ab muscles. I mean, the ab muscles are there, sure. and you could build your abs plenty well without ever doing a direct ab exercise if you're doing lots of compound lifts, which of course I've done. And so as I get closer to the show, that's actually when I'll use my Aesthreadics belt and put and I use a topical fat burner, VASO-BURN. That's Matt Porter's product. Rest in peace. But I put that on my glutes and on my love handles and then lower abs. Those are kind of my stubborn areas of body fat. So at the end of a prep, those are the last things hanging on. So to get rid of that, that's when I put the belt on. Do you use one of your own belts for that, or do you use like a waist trainer, or do you?
No, I've actually never used a waist trainer before, and I definitely have our belts. We'll eventually get into the game of like a nylon or like a neoprene belt. We've just honed in. We've been so preoccupied with making our leather where it needs to be. And it's definitely a process. And I'm your timing's great. I'm glad that you guys ordered the belts when you did, because just like anything, when you're starting out, you have to kind of bounce off the walls and learn. And but now, I'm quite satisfied with how soft our leather is, to where it's kind of kept me from, it's kind of kept the other belts prolonged. Because I know I'm not a huge fan of Velcro, to be honest with you. It just wears down over time.
It just looks dumb too.
Yeah, so I mean, if I were to go waist trainer route, obviously that would be the alternative. But if I can make my leather softer, I mean, obviously, with our tapered belts, Absolutely. I mean, it can definitely second as a waist trainer.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say, just to be completely honest, like if you guys got waist trainers, like I wouldn't be interested. I would just be like, my belt, it does everything I need. It's so comfortable. Like I put it on and just like wear it throughout the day sometimes if I'm just outside working.
yeah, yeah, well, definitely, definitely. And I mean, the ultimately I'll kind of give you well, I mean, I'm not a scientist by any means when it comes to this, but the science behind the weight belt is, most companies are going to use I'll call it like a blend. They're going to use like a 50-50. So you're going to have some leather and then some other, composite material that they're going to use. Exactly, exactly. The first thing that I did with our belts is no padding. Don't need it. You get that you get the belt tight enough, that foam padding is just going to go away anyway. So that's a gimmick and it's cheap and people try to use it as a selling point. And in my opinion, I just saw it right through it when we first started.
Wow.
But I told all of our leather manufacturers that we were working with and our tanneries that I go, we do not want anything less than 100% genuine cowhide leather, period. And I go, if you got something, I was like, I don't care how much it costs. I don't care. I was like, don't try to sell me on A, B, and C because of the price point or anything like that. And, in my opinion, the quality has to be there. That's first and foremost. And then, the custom work obviously was secondary. And, that's a great added touch because it allows us to, to showcase what we're all about. You can put your company name on the back of it. I can put Yosemite Sam on the back of mine or whatever, so it's just like, that part is, like I said, it starts with the level of quality and, I don't want somebody to need another one of our weight belts because something happened to the one that they had. I want them to want another one of our weight belts because they want a different design. They want a different color. They want, and to me, that's what it's all about. And
I know that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just like thinking like, man, all right. next Bible verse or I don't know, something.
Yeah.
that Hulk one that you guys made was more, the Incredible Hulk was more of a mural than a piece of workout equipment. I mean, just a work of art, man. Beautiful.
This digital printer that we have, Colton, is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. We actually did a belt for a couple Olympians, and we took some of their stage shots and we edited them, and then we actually put their stage shots on the belt, so it has their pictures on it. And I mean, there's no detail that's left behind. I mean, it's literally. It's just incredible. You could see on one of them, you can almost see like the beads of sweat on their skin. I mean, we're having a lot of fun with this new machine, and it's just like, it's opening up an entirely new, experience for us as to our capabilities.
Yeah.
So, we're making a belt right now for Stuart Sunderland. I don't know if you're familiar with Stuart. He was actually the guest poser at Emerald Cup. Beef Stew is his Instagram tag.
That guy. Yeah. Of course I know that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. That's the world we live in now. It's all Instagram.
I was mistaken for a second because I thought you were referring to a human being. I don't think that is.
Okay. No. He's guy's bionic. I love his throat. Yeah. The guy, I mean, I missed him at Emerald Cup. I mean, so far all of our conversations have just been, over messaging. But seems like a really nice guy, and the belt that we're making for him is going to be pretty sweet. We're designing it right now. It says Beef Stew on the back, and he wants a rubber duck on one side, and he wants a T-bone steak on the other side. Yeah, and I mean, just the originality is just awesome. And I told him, I was like, dude, this might be like one of my favorite belts. It's like, it's definitely going to be one of the most unique that we've ever made. And I love, and on the bottom underneath his name, it's going to say mediocre pro, which is just, I mean, the guy is just, he's got plenty of humility, and there's nothing mediocre about the guy. He looks awesome.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah. So I'm excited to make that one. We got that one on deck this week, and we'll definitely showcase once it's done, and hopefully he'll be able to put it through everything that's going to endure, and it'll hold up just fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go. So you found you have a very original idea with a very original vision, but I'm almost kind of surprised that nobody thought about it first, because like what you're saying just makes so much practical sense. I mean, every other sport, you got a jersey with your name on the back. Bodybuilding, why not? I mean, bodybuilding is more of an individual sport than any other sport is.
Right.
So, are you one of those guys that has your belt on your backpack, like on your gym bag everywhere you go to?
Oh, all the time. It's pretty sad nowadays. I mean, I don't even know how many belts I have, because every time I think of something new, I was like, I gotta go make a belt, you know. And but you know, the fun thing about that though is like, and I don't know, maybe you shared this experience when your belts came in, you know, with your Skullbellz logo on the back. But when something like that comes in, it just kind of reignites your, you know, your motivation to go work out.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, like this actually. So my backpack's right here. This is
okay. Yep.
Actually, whenever somebody does incorrectly refer to this as a backpack, I politely correct them and say this is a dynamic dad bag. Big.
Love it.
Yeah, got a spare Lego set in there, bro. I mean, you never know when you're going to need something for an emergency. Noise canceling headphones, that's for sure a dad essential. But yeah, I mean, Skullbellz just fits perfectly around it. Goes everywhere I go. I mean, like in and out of church and everything. And people ask me like, "You just come out of the gym?" I'm like, no, this belt goes everywhere I go.
It's part of you. You know,
love it. Yeah, and it actually holds the backpack together better too. So like, I can put my stuff in and organize it better with the belt in it than with the belt not being on it. It's
that's fantastic. I love it. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, and you know, it's yeah, kind of going back to, you know, your original question, it's you know, there are other companies out there that are obviously doing what we're doing now. And you know, that's inevitable, you know, and if somebody is, you know, copying you, or, you know, and I'm not to say that, you know, I wasn't the pioneer from this. I kind of took, you know, what my predecessor was doing and just kind of modified it a little bit to make us, you know, more efficient. But it's in my opinion, you know, most companies, you know, that there's a couple of different directions you can go. And you know, obviously it's my ultimate goal to stay in for the long haul. I mean, we want to make sure that, you know, our company name is eventually going to become a household name to where it's just like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. But not only that,
it's a cool name too. It's a creative name.
Thanks. Yeah. No, you know, well, at the time, you know, I'm going back 10 years, you know, and back in, you know, 2013, 2014, everything was aesthetic this and aesthetic that, and, you know, aesthetic evolution, aesthetic army, and aesthetic, you know. So I was just like, well, our belts are stitched together with threads, so maybe, you know, it all just kind of made sense. So thank you. But the you know, if you want to kind of play that long game, again, I go back to quality. You know, the quality has got to be there. I'm going to use this as an example. So I feel like, you know, and don't get me wrong, everything is on Amazon nowadays. Everything, you know, I mean, but and I don't know if you've had this experience, you know, in the past or not, but I certainly have, and I've also, you know, been guilty of saying this, but if you're, you know, maybe something, you know, I don't know, you bought something, I don't know, like we'll just say this cell phone case, okay, and I'll be like, oh hey, you know, it's a really cool cell phone case, where, you know, you'll be like, oh, I just got it on Amazon, okay, well, you immediately just downplayed the product that you purchased.
Yeah,
you know, made it sound like it was cheap. Well, I just got it on Amazon, you know, so now people are slowly becoming, I'm not saying that's the case with every product, you know, I mean, I still order things off Amazon. I look at reviews and whatnot, and I mean, hell, we sell our belts are on Amazon. So
yeah,
but
I mean, it's so easy. It's gotten ridiculous. Like I saw a meme that was like, I feel like I should be buying something on Amazon right now, but I've
definitely. I don't think I can go a week without ordering something off Amazon. I mean, it's just it's incredibly convenient, you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hate Amazon, but they're brilliant.
Exactly. No, I mean, you know,
they make it hard for people like you and me to be in business. That's what they do.
There's what Jeff Bezos is like the second richest guy in the world. You know, whatever. It's just.
I know, dude. Like, I don't know how they can get away with free shipping on everything. I'm like, man, I'm selling the same stuff that they are, like with the Celtic sea salt, Redmond sea salt, Redmond sea salt, whatever. And I'm like, dude, like I make a buck off of these purchases at best.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a, you and me both. So, but kind of going back to that, that's the downplay is what I ultimately want to get away from. I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, it's just an aesthetics belt. I want people to be like, oh no, this is an aesthetics belt. And then obviously the level of whatever respect or just I want our product to kind of be put on a pedestal because of the level of quality in which it is. I mean, if you same thing, you go to a car lot and you see whatever's on the showroom floor, it's obviously their best, as opposed to whatever's out back. And I think if obviously if we can continue providing the level of quality that we can, not only with just the merchandise itself, but if we can, I mean, it's ultimately my goal to create an experience for somebody, even if I need to have a chat with them at an expo or whatever. I mean, that's, as the owner of this company, that's really, really important to me, is maintaining those relationships with people. And I think that's what ultimately kind of makes your product, it just intensifies in everything. So I'm going to use RICH PIANA, 5% nutrition. Sure. As controversial as the guy was, I met him twice. He was really nice to me.
I was gonna say, huge fan of his, by the way.
Yeah, no, the guy, he's big, he's all tatted up, but both interactions that I had with him were awesome. And I wasn't like a 5% nutrition, like hardcore, I mean, it was, I like some of their stuff, but they had like an actual like cult following, and rightfully so.
And I didn't want to say it that way, but you took the words right out of my mouth. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, it was warranted. But what I really respected about him the most is that guy would show up to a fitness expo. He was the first one there at his booth in the morning, and he was the last one out the door when it was done. Wow. And to be an owner of a company and to do that is big. Usually your talent, your celebrities, or whatever you want to call them, they'll show up for a block during an expo. They'll be there from 12 to 2 or whatever. They'll take some pictures and sign some autographs. But that guy stayed, and I saw it. I mean, we did the LA Fit Expo at the same time, and to see him, like I said, right there bright and early and leaving there, I had a lot of respect for the guy. And I want to kind of create the same experience. I try to do the same thing at all of our expos. Like I said, I try to be the first one there and the last one to leave, and shake as many hands as I can. And
I think you were the last one to leave, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's just because I'm slow at breaking my booth down. No, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, so I mean, I think all these little things, they become big things down the line. And as long as we're not dishing out a mediocre product, and I mean, I take a lot of pride in the level of quality that we provide, as well as the experience that people have. And I mean, for me, it's a win-win because I get to like make a bunch of friends along the way. I mean, obviously, I met you. You and I wouldn't have crossed paths if you weren't competing, or A, B, and C. So having all of those things kind of line up to being what they are, it just creates lots of opportunities for everybody to win.
That's really cool what you said about RICH PIANA too. I try to have the same attitude with my business, because all those things do add up. It's like when I get hit with an order of Celtic sea salt, I'm like, great, I probably made like $1 or $2 off of it. I mean, like, there's no profit margin there, but at the end of the day, someone took time out of their day to give me their hard-earned money. Yeah. And I got one right before this podcast. Actually, I was doing some editing for our other show, and I was like, great, I got a half hour to get this done. Got an order, and I'm like, well, there goes that half hour. By the time you go package it up, ship it, we're out to the mailbox and everything. And I'm like, you know what? When someone takes their time to give you their business, I kind of feel obligated to make it worth their while. You know,
Sure.
I don't know how you can go to bed and sleep at night if you don't.
No, I mean it goes a long way. It definitely does. And I mean, like I said, the little things become big things. As long as you, in my opinion, continue to do the little things correctly for an extended period of time, you just kind of gain more and more momentum. Colton, I'll tell you firsthand. I remember the first, oh gosh, it was probably like the first maybe month or two that we were, that our site was live and that we were going. There was a Sunday, I was working out in the gym, and we got 3 orders during my workout, and man, I was over the moon. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I thought, like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. It's just like people are taking their money and they're electing to buy my product when there's other options out there. And I mean, it meant the world to me. And that never gets old,
especially if it's something that you made with your own hands, and someone else, like, their life is better because of something that you made. That's just that's a really cool feeling. That's hard to replicate.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had competitors get their belts, and they, sometimes people will kind of just let me run with it, and I'll create them a cool design. Well, not me. We have a design team as well, but and I mean, I remember there was this one gal. She ordered a belt, and she messaged us, and she's like, "I'm literally in tears right now." She's like, "This is literally the coolest thing ever. I'm obsessed." And I was like, "That, you can't replace that." And even 8 years later, it still never gets old. It's just it's awesome. I mean, and there's, we'll do a lot of traveling for expos. We usually go up to the Arnold Classic. We've been to the Dallas Europa, Phoenix Europa. We kind of bounce around, and to go to all these other places and go into all these other gyms that are, elsewhere, and to see our belts in these gyms, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just like, oh, like, and it never ever gets old. And I mean, typically I'll kind of make a point to go over to those people and ask them, how their belt is, how they like it, how it's holding up. And then I'll kind of fish around for their review on it. And then I'll introduce myself, because I usually hide behind the brand. Not a lot of people know who I am per se. But,
yeah. No, dude. To find you on Aesthreadics, like, forget it. Like, you're not there. Like, I had to go so far to find your profile. Like, I had to dig.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's definitely, the brand comes first, and I'm just one of the guys that's trying to hold one of the pillars up. So yeah, no, it's very cool.
You're very humble about it.
Thanks.
So, you and Jenna work together, right?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
She has Jenna's Body Shop. And that's her thing. She's a great trainer. I mean, obviously she's I'll say she's a player's coach, so to speak. Kind of similar to you. She's had the experiences. She's had good experience. She's had bad experiences, and she's kind of able to wrap up all that into what she offers her clients. And no, I mean, she's been doing all of that on her own. We collaborate from time to time. She's a tremendous help to us at the shows when she's available, when she's not competing or coaching, which, obviously that takes up a lot of time. But Jenna's just, she just kind of lights up the room when she walks into it. So to have someone like that at our booth, for me, if it's another like bikini competitor coming up, I mean, I can only get so far with them. But if Jenna comes up to them, and then they can instantly relate, and then she can kind of explain how she uses her belt and A, B, and C, and it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, she's been Jenna's Body Shop she's celebrating her 4-year anniversary this month, actually. And yeah, I mean, she's on fire right now. She's just lining up clients left and right. And the cool thing is she's getting to a point where she is taking on a lot more competitors, which, I mean, obviously she can relate to them because she competes herself. Mm-hmm. So she definitely feels a lot more wrapped up in that. And but I mean, she's done she's educated herself from the ground up with, she does all the lifestyle coaching, all the nutrition. I mean, everything. Typically, the only time that I ever help her out is if she has a male competitor that needs help with posing. Then, I'll lend a hand at that point. But no, I mean, she kind of does her own thing. She's got a nice home office. So I'm the one that has to drive to work. But,
right on.
Yeah,
Taylor and I end up tag teaming a lot too. I like how you guys do it because I'm seeing a lot of similarities. So like 2 days ago, I was in a consultation, and halfway through the guy starts asking me a lot of questions about like where we do our grocery shoppings and how we prep all our food and everything. And like, I'm like, I don't know, dude. I open up my fridge and there's beef in there.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
the same.
I know. I just thought, I was like, wow, Taylor's stressed out keeping the kids from burning the house down. This is my 5th meeting of the day. I was like, hey, babe, you want to trade places? And the dude just started laughing because he knows her too. He's actually a friend from a long time ago, and so she came in and just answered his questions, and I just was playing with the kids for the next half hour. And I was like, great, this is a win-win.
That's awesome. No, I mean, that's a lot of work. I mean, it's definitely. So yeah, it sounds like you guys make a heck of a team. So that's pretty awesome.
Thanks, man. We try to. About to celebrate 10 years.
Nice. Congrats. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, we don't have kids yet. Not yet. But we have a dog, and that's so so right now we're able to kind of balance out, obviously her business and my business, and we're both always incredibly busy, but she does a great job at, I mean, kind of going back to what you said, the refrigerator's always full, the laundry's always done, and I mean, I'm obviously just for lack of words, she does her job, and then she does all this other stuff, and it just gets done. And I mean, it's just like, God, sometimes I feel like such a lazy ass, so I need to make sure that I'm throwing my fair share on the table as well.
and then you and I are like, we got a good workout in, and we made a couple sales a day.
Yep, that's it. Amen.
Don't expect anything else. I'm burnt out.
Pride. I'm taking that.
She's got a pretty big show coming up, right?
She's actually done for the year. She did Charleston. That was Junior USA's.
Okay.
She took 6th, which was great placing. Very respectable. She wanted to continue on and do another show, but this show, she got a. Kind of going back to what you were saying before, when in your show, when you're dieting hard, she dieted really hard this year and long. I mean, she started her prep, just before Thanksgiving last year. So I mean, that's just a long time to be dieting. It was a very slow burn, and man, she came in just she was the leanest I've ever seen her.
Does she have a coach, or does she coach herself?
So yeah, no, she also does have a coach. It's Adam Atkinson. I don't know if you ever heard of him. His company's See You Later Leaner is the name of his company, and they've been together for quite some time. He's a great guy. I've met him a couple of times. Super nice guy. Incredibly knowledgeable, and he's actually passed a lot of his knowledge to Jenna. I mean, Jenna's essentially been a student of his, not only as a competitor, but as a coach as well. So I mean, she's kind of getting a 2-for-1 there. Because I mean, he's been around since I'd say 08, 09. I mean, he's been a competitor and a coach.
Yeah.
And so I mean, yeah, she's definitely in good hands with him. And like I said, she's mostly bikini competitors is kind of her jam, but I know she does right now. We're prepping. She has a classic physique guy that's coming up for Idaho Cup. That'll be this fall here, and he's gonna look awesome. I'm actually gonna help him with his posing this Friday, and he's already getting dialed in. Kind of the same concept that she did. It's just kind of a slow burn. He's getting lean, and it's nice once you're, if you're lean enough, a month or so out, then you can kind of start tweaking things a little bit, because that you're not going to be playing catch up later on. So
yeah, that's what you want to do with a prep. You want to be ready a good 4 or 5 weeks out. I mean, ready to step on stage then, and don't and for any competitors listening, don't ever feel like you're dieting too hard, because it's way easier to reverse into a show at that point. If you do have to, like, you can fix that. And really that's the point where I always recommend that's when you put refeeds in, because your metabolism is probably shot, your hormones are probably shot. If you're natural, you got to have those refeeds in. That just it resets everything.
Sure. And that was actually the other challenge for Jenna too. I mean, she is a natural athlete, and you know, as kind of what we were talking about with physique, you know, the bikini division is evolving as well. I mean, those girls are coming in, you know, at times I'm like trying to figure out if I'm watching the figure girls or the bikini girls, and the only way I can tell them apart is the posing.
Yeah.
And you know, at the national level, man, those girls are just they're big and they're lean, you know. And it's if Jenna would have entered this sport, say 5 years ago, yeah, I think it would have been an entirely different experience for her. You know, because you know she's 5 feet tall. You know, she's tiny, and so when she gets really lean, you know, she gets small. And you know, she spent the whole last year. She took a full year off. She got a lot of good growth, and you know, like I said, she had a great showing this year. Emerald Cup. When we saw you, you know, she won her class up there.
Yeah, she's got a spectacular physique, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's she's like I said, she just demands attention. She does all the little things. I always go back to the little things.
Yeah, I like that point that you made a few minutes ago about passing on that leadership, like as a coach, because with us, the way that we do it, we have a network of coaches. It's not just me, it's Taylor, it's Coach Mark from Ireland, it's Danielle Rainwater from Seattle.
Yeah.
Yep. So she's coaching Taylor on her prep.
Nice.
Alfred Roy, Jonathan Griffiths from the UK. A lot of our clients end up coaching each other, especially in like group fitness trainings, conference calls. However, Skullbellz is kind of a one-man show. Taylor and I do everything. So do you have any advice for us as like young, growing entrepreneurs in the gym equipment space, starting off, like before hiring any employees specifically for production?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's the one thing, and again, you know, I don't want to downplay any potential employees that you'll have down the road.
Yeah.
But you know, an employee is never going to share the same passion as the owner. You know, and then that's just kind of the reality of it. And you know, I think the one thing that if I had any really good piece of advice, you know, before you even have to cross that bridge, is, you know, it's the tortoise and the hare. You know, everybody wants to get there first and get there now. And if you move too fast, you're gonna lose some pieces along the way. So I mean, slow and steady, you know, that's been. And I mean, are there times where I'm just like, oh, we need to do this now? You know, of course. But in the grand scheme of things, it's you know, you definitely make sure it's a slow burn. Take your time. If you know, if the quality of your product is there, you know, it's you're just gonna slowly kind of, you know, hit different pockets of people. And if you have, you know, if you have somebody in Montana and then you have somebody in Utah that likes what you're doing, you know, the most valuable form of marketing is word of mouth. And as long as you're doing those little things and you're creating that experience for, like you said, even if you just sold one thing of smelling salts to some guy and you barely made any money off of it, if you enhanced his experience, then he's going to go tell his friends, and then his friends are going to tell his friends, and then his friends are going to tell his. And I mean, I'm convinced that has been, you know, what has allowed us to have the success that we've had over the last, you know, 7.5 years. There's Instagram ads and there's Facebook ads, and I mean, do we dabble with that? Absolutely. But is it the anchor of, you know, of our success? Not a chance. Everybody can do ads. You could put an ad up right now. I could put an ad up right. You know, I mean, it's so
you got to start somewhere. Yeah, our first year in coaching, we did a lot of that. It was I'm looking for 5 people who want to lose X amount of pounds or whatever, you know, because that was before we had our credibility and everything. And then you get to a point to where you kind of have to let your work speak for itself because you don't want to be a salesman the rest of your life, right?
Exactly. And I mean, well, the cool thing too is like, you know, if what you're selling, I don't think I've ever sold a belt to anybody. What I always say is I just present what we have. I'm a lousy salesman. I'll be the first to admit it. So, you know, we'll show up at Emerald Cup and we'll have a booth. And if someone walks up and they want to know what we're all about, you know, yeah, I could talk about aesthetics all day long. You know, it's my baby, it's my passion. But you know, I'll never. A case in point, you know, we've had a lot of success with the NPC this year with show promoters. Literally, I think we've got, oh gosh, maybe 14 or 15 states now that we do all the belts for all the shows within those states. And I actually just broke it down yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I was kind of taken back for a second. But it's, you know, what I'll do, you know, if I'm looking for a new promoter to do business with, I'll send them our information and say, hey, you know, this is what we do. This is what we offer. This is our price. And, you know, we've got a really good thing going with these promoters in Idaho and Washington and Montana and Utah, you know, and at that point, it's the Jones effect, I feel, is just kind of created at that point.
Yeah.
I don't need
you got a good enough product that speaks for itself. All you need is exposure at that point. It just needs to get in front of people.
Yep. And I mean, you know, kind of going back to your original question, one thing that I would always key on that I think would benefit, you know, you in your particular case is, you know, the expos. The expos are always good because I mean, obviously you got a good personality. You're an approachable guy. You're a likable guy. So if, you know, people meet you and they're like, hey, this guy's all right, you know, and then they see your product, you know, they're gonna, you know, obviously they're gonna be more up. You know, the old saying, you don't buy the car, you buy the salesman.
Yeah. And
there's definitely something.
And people don't buy coaching programs; they hire a coach.
Yep, definitely. So, you know, I mean, you know, we live in a very saturated industry, you know, for lack of a better word, but you know, it's I'll be the first to admit, like, you know, with my wife, with her coaching business, I was interested to see how she was going to get a foothold in the industry because there's coaches on every street corner. And the nice thing is she had a couple of lousy experiences when she was an athlete with previous coaches. And again, she's created an experience that's opposite that. And if she has other competitors that have had those same lousy experiences, they get this huge breath of fresh air with what Jenna's able to offer them.
Right.
Like, oh, our last coach didn't ever check in with me, gave me this cookie cutter program. You know, when I needed them most, 2 days before the show or the day before the show or the day of the show, they were nowhere to be found because they had other clients. You know, it's like, you know, if you just kind of draw it up and be like, okay, well, we know what people want. We know what people don't want. You know, I think that it's the levels of success or potential success is just really, it's kind of right in front of you. Yeah. You know, I think oftentimes we just kind of get lost in the shuffle, just trying to, okay, well, what can I do right now? What can I do? How can I fix this? How can I do, you know, and everybody's in such a rush to get to the top that it's, you know, it's not very lucrative, and, you know, the chance of you stumbling are only increased. So
don't bite off more than you can chew is a common theme that I'm hearing.
Definitely. And I mean, you know, it's you know, it's definitely we've gotten close a couple of times, and you know, I've been lucky. I mean, you know, when the WWE knocked on our door and they gave us their first purchase order, and I'd never seen a quantity like that before in my life. I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? You know, and at that point, it's like, but that's the other side of it, though. That's when, you know, everyone's goal is to create the beast, right?
Yeah.
It's like you want to have, you know, you want that to happen, but you know, it's you know, if you go about it too aggressive, then, you know, chances are that's not going to. There has to be some sort of kind of organic effect, and I mean, I could tell you right now, just to kind of give you the backstory on that, and you know, it's still associated with the topic that we're on. Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, he was when him and I started talking to each other, he was kind of a big deal in Japan, and that was it. He wasn't in the WWE. It was before the AEW was formulated. So, I mean, this guy was, you know, I don't want to, like, you know, I'm not going to say he was a nobody. I mean, he had a stint in the WWE, and his character development wasn't where he wanted to be, and this and that. So he ventured off on his own, and I mean, talk about a leap of faith. I mean, he walked away from, you know, the big leagues, and he went down, and then he worked his way back up to the big leagues, and now he's the guy in the big leagues. So I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for what he's done and who he is, and it's awesome to see, you know, the evolution. But you know, him and I started talking, and he explained that, you know, the concept that he wanted with the weight belt, and he wanted to use it as a prop, and he wanted it to be part of his getup, and I loved it. You know, I was just like, hey man, I was like, up to this point, we've only made belts for, you know, bodybuilders and powerlifters, and you know, but yeah, I was like, we'll make you whatever you want. And so we started doing belts, and then the AEW was created, and man, they just hit the ground running, and they had a, you know, immediately right out of the gate, they had a lot of success. And for every different match that he would do, we would make him a different themed belt. And then we had like the, you know, the base Nightmare belt, which is the one that everybody sees now. But it was kind of cool. Like sometimes he'd have, I remember one time we made like it was actually a Jacksonville Jaguars themed belt. Because Tony Khan, the owner of the AEW, is the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Samir Khan. So that's the connection there. We made a Metal Gear Solid themed belt for him one time for a match. I mean, literally just everything under the sun. We had a great relationship, and then when he finally struck up a deal with the WWE, you know, he reached back out to me and he said, "Hey man," he goes, unfortunately we can't have this partnership anymore because I'm moving on to a different different organization." And I said, "Oh, you know, I go, that's totally fine. You know, I could have thrown a fit and got all butthurt or whatnot, but that wasn't my place to do any of that." And I told him, I said, "Hey man," I go, "I wish you the best of luck." I go, "It's been a great pleasure working with you, and if we meet up somewhere down the line, then we meet up somewhere down the line." And you know, 6-7 months went by, and then now, you know, I got the WWE ordering belts from us like crazy. So it's not always over when it's over, you know. And you know, that's kind of, I guess, you know, going back to advice that I would pass along. It's just like, you know, you never want to burn any bridges, and you know, you never know when something's going to come back around full circle, and it's going to be even more monumental than it was the first time, you know. Yeah. And that's kind of our goal, is to kind of create those relationships, and it's awesome. He's been awesome to us. And yeah, he's actually coming up here next month. They're going to be in Boise, so hopefully we'll get a chance to see him.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of SuperSetYourLife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes, your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this
That'd
video.
be super cool. That's amazing. Yeah. God's plan is all it always makes total sense in hindsight, and it's always 2020. But the more that I've tried to make my own business plans and white knuckle it and make things happen exactly the way as I envision it, it always blows up in my face, man. But our longest term clients, they always just come out of nowhere. I mean, like, you know, freaking, I sold salt to them a year ago, and then they sold a pair of skull-shaped dumbbells like a year ago, and then they hit me up a year later, like, hey, I think I want to do a show or something. And
nice.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to it's hard to plan it out exactly like that.
Oh, definitely. It'll never go the way that you want it to go.
It comes back to the little things.
And I mean, keep in mind too, man, you never know what seeds you're planting along the way. So I mean, like you said, if you think you're going too hard, too fast, you know, it's, you know, you could be just getting your name out there. I mean, ultimately it's up to the consumer. You know, they're going to buy when they're ready to buy, and there's no two ways about it. But you know, if you're hustling and you're in front of them, then you know they're going to remember you.
Yep.
You know, I definitely think there's something to be said for that.
One of my favorite leadership authors, John Maxwell, says that people will forget what you say, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah, yeah, definitely something to be said for that.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a good quote.
Well, I think we've kind of gone through everything, man. I totally respect your time, and man, I appreciate the tour around your warehouse and everything beforehand. Didn't expect that. I got one more question for you, if that's all right.
Oh, of course, I'm ready.
You're okay. So you've got I think last I checked over 40,000 followers on Instagram for Aesthreadics. Has that been a goal, or has that just been like a byproduct of your merchandise speaking for itself and just grinding and hustling?
Yeah, I like that question. I've never been asked that question. So yeah, that's okay. Funny you mentioned that, because I remember all that I ever wanted way back when was the K, you know, and you had to get 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had a celebration once we hit 10K. I was beside myself. I will pride myself on the fact that we've never ever paid for any followers.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's all been organic growth. So it's social media is a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, I'm trying to keep my words right. You know, obviously, you know, Instagram is where we do most of our work. Am I a fan of the algorithms? Absolutely not.
No. I'm never on Instagram consuming content. I'm not. I'm there because it's my livelihood. And and the second that I'm done with my business, like I'm sorry, dude. Like I don't look at your posts. Like I look at your posts because like we're gonna do a podcast, but I know you don't look at my posts, and I don't take it personally. But I just hate being on social media. I do.
Honestly, dude, as shallow as this sounds, Colton, it's so sad. My wife will second this, but I typically the only time that I'm ever on, like, you know, my Instagram is usually to find videos of people getting hurt. And I usually other people. It's terrible. I'm probably gonna get struck by lightning one of these days for saying that, but you know, it's just like cheap, you know, entertainment. But no, it's you know, obviously it's, you know, I'm old school. You know, I'd much rather talk to somebody face to face, you know, and engage in conversation, because you know, whenever you're, you know, social media, it is such a powerful tool. It is a very superficial tool. It is a very effective tool. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't say that it's not. I'd be lying. But you know, obviously you can cover a lot of ground at, you know, at one setting with, you know, with those posts. The only thing that I'm not overly crazy about is, you know, the social media gods decide who gets to see what. And you know, that part I think is kind of unfortunate. You know, you can pay for ads, you know, definitely, but even if
you're a conservative dude in a conservative state, then that doesn't help the algorithms either.
Right, you know, it's true. You're not lying. So, and it's just like, you know, I want, you know, of course, I want to broadcast our stuff to everybody. You know, I want everybody to see what we're doing, especially now that we have that digital printer. We can do, you know, I could take your picture and I can put it on a belt. I mean, we could literally do anything.
Cool. I'll send you a couple pictures.
Yeah, no, please do. But you know, it's obviously it's necessary, you know, for business. Absolutely. I mean, if you're not on, you know, if you're not on social media, you're missing a huge chunk of the pie, you know. And but you know, in reality, you know, for me personally, when I get really excited, it's when we're working directly with the WWE. It's you know, we just had the pleasure of going up to the University of Idaho. We just made a bunch of belts for their school, and that was an incredible experience, you know, because we got to interact with the strength and conditioning coach, their staff. I mean, we got to meet all the players, and you know, we're in their gym watching them use our belts when they're squatting, you know, 500-600 pounds. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, I've always definitely been more of a hands-on kind of face-to-face guy. That's just how I am. Maybe that's because of my age. I don't know. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of variables around that. But
I'm with you on the face-to-face. When you asked me, you're like, this is going to be a phone call, right? I was like, oh heck no, man, I want to.
No, definitely, yeah, it's worked out great. But
even audio only podcasts, we always record it where we can see each other too. You just got to be careful and realize, wait, no, people are listening. They can't see this.
Right. That's all great.
It helps the conversation flow better.
Sure. Oh, I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast religiously, and I mean, it's funny because I'll actually watch the podcast.
Yeah,
it's just two guys in a room talking to each other. So no, there's something.
Especially if it's Joe Rogan. I mean, his facial expressions are half the fun.
Oh yeah, no, that guy's awesome, man. he's an ace. Yeah. But no, I mean, going back to the Instagram following, yeah, I mean, obviously it's something we strive for. You know, a lot of companies, you know, there's a lot of companies out there that have a much bigger following than us. Every time we've done a giveaway with CODY, that's usually when we get a huge bump in our following. So wow. I mean, a lot of our followers are actually the wrestling community, which is great. You know, I mean, that's just like, that's, you know, that they obviously like the merchandise, and you know, as long as if they're buying from Fanatics, then we're selling to Fanatics, everybody wins. I personally think, just based on what I've seen with other companies, and again, I'm kind of going back to my previous statement saying, you know, that it's, you know, take the slow road, you know, because that's the way to do it. I personally don't think that we've really even been discovered yet, and which is kind of weird to say, you know, because, you know, we have all these shows that we do belts for. I mean, we have tons of
it's all local. You guys have so much more to scale, so much further you can take it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, the world's a big place, you know, it's a huge place. So I mean, I think if you
get a warehouse in Billings, Montana, man.
Hey, right? Come up there. Flag Nor Fail's up there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
We're building right next door to them. They're awesome. But no, I think at some point, and I believe this, you know, it's I think we're just going to turn a corner, and everyone's just going to all of a sudden know about us, and that tidal wave's going to hit us. So it's my responsibility to make sure that we're prepared when that wave does hit us.
Yep.
And that's the bottom line. And, you know, because the society doesn't hold back. I mean, typically it's kind of a feast or fathom mentality that you have to, you know, they're either everyone's going to want everything at once, or, you know, you are having to present your product here and there and, you know, go all over the place, which, like I said, I have no problem with. But we did get, every year around the holidays, we get a taste. We get these little tiny tidal waves that hit us.
Oh, for sure.
You know, people obviously like gifting belts to each other, and you know, we have the other thing
it's such a unique gift. Like to give someone a custom weight belt with their own name on it or something for Christmas. It's like, sure. Come on, dude, your brother wasn't expecting that.
No, definitely no. It's a one of a kind item. And no, it's awesome. And like you said, even if it's got their name or a quote that they like or a nickname they have, I mean, there's so many things that, you know, that'll strike a chord with people. And, you know, that's where we come in to provide that experience with people. And no, it's been awesome. You know, we're looking forward to growing. You know, we've been growing every year, and you know, we're hopefully not going to look back. And you know, we're lucky in the fact that, you know, like I said, that we are able to work with the WWE. We are able to work with Fanatics. We are able to work with Dark Sport. I mean, Dark Sport's massive. We started our companies around the same time, and I mean, you can't go into a gym and not see somebody wearing something from that company, you know. And that's I think.
Yeah, I got Dark Sport merchandise. I got the original hat with the with the
like
biting the barbell in half.
Yeah.
It was a gift, and when people see it, they're like, "Oh, that's a collector's item." They don't make
OG
that
one.
Yep.
I have that same hat, and it's destroyed. I wore it to the gym way too many times, and it's done for.
Mine's got a couple sweat stains on it, but it's still got the sticker on it. That's the important thing.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's you know, that part's really cool. And you know, like I said, we got our sights on the universities now, and I mean, I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And you know, we'll hopefully be able to create some the best comparison that I could throw at you is, you know how in the supplement world now, a lot of these supplement companies are teaming up with like household brands. Ghost is a perfect example. Ghost has
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, Sour Patch Kids. They have
it's just like Sour Patch Kids.
Yep, exactly. So what we're going to try to do is kind of that similar concept where it's going to be I'm going to use the Oklahoma State University as a perfect example. It's going to be kind of like that collaboration where it's an Oklahoma State belt by Aesthreadics. We just finalized. We have the rights to all the logos now, so we can put, you know, Pistol Pete on the belt. We, you know, obviously color or follow all their same color codes, and
wow,
it's gonna be great. I'm super excited about this collaboration with them. We've got the University of Utah right behind them. We just finalized with our application with Arizona University of Arizona Wildcats. That just got finalized. And then we're working on the big three that we're working on right now is University of Tennessee, Auburn, and Nebraska. And yeah, if we can do collabs with those three schools, I mean, it'll be a really, really big deal for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what we're shooting for, man. The old saying, one of my favorite quotes is jump and build your wings on the way down. Kind of contradicts a little bit of the advice that I've been giving you. Is that, you know, like I said, the slow burn is definitely the answer.
Yeah, I've heard it said, just make a big mess and clean everything else up after you make it to the top. Like, you know, I've heard people say it that way too. And
I mean,
I think you just got to use discretion sometimes, and you got to go I don't know. Am I biting off more than I can chew? Am I just chasing another shiny object, or is this an opportunity that's actually worth it? It's hard to tell, and you never know until you try. But anything's better than wondering what if, though.
Definitely. Yeah, as long as you're grinding and as long as you're trying, you know, it'll eventually stick. So yeah. I'm a firm believer in that.
Totally. Do you have any special promotions or events coming up? What bodybuilding shows can I expect to see you at next?
So the next show that we will probably be at, it'll actually be a home game for us. It's going to be the Idaho Cup in October. And I'm excited about it for multiple reasons. We're actually going to be providing the guest poser for that show. And it's Ashley Jones. She's an IFBB Pro women's physique competitor. She's an Olympian. I believe last Olympia she took 9th. So she's a top 10 Olympian. Maybe I'm biased. I think she's awesome. I'm convinced that she'll eventually be crowned Miss Olympia.
I just think women that do women's physique are badass.
She's awesome, man.
It's just a cool category.
Yep. She's made for the sport. I mean, she's jacked. She looks awesome. I mean, she's the whole package. And you know, you can tell, you know, kind of the same situation. She's a really, really nice person. She just lights the room up, you know, and you know, coming up here for Idaho Cup, I mean, she's gonna just set that place on fire. I'm super excited to have her, and it's gonna be great.
What's the date on that?
That's gonna be October, I want to say 14th. Is it here? Hang on, I'm gonna check my calendar here really quick. Let's see. Where's October at? Yes, October 14th.
Oh, okay. I got someone on. I thought it was October 12th doing a show in Reno, Nevada.
Oh wait, maybe it's the 21st. Hang on, I might be.
It's maybe like a road trip through Boise and down through Nevada and back to back here or something if we wanted to get a booth there.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you do decide to get a booth, I mean, down, you know, like I said, the fitness industry here in Idaho it's good. You know, it's really good. So I'm looking to see where. No, they haven't listed. Gosh, I should know. I know it's mid-October. I want to say the 14th. Let's see. Empire, Muscle Club, Idaho Cup. I'm sorry, October 21st. Yeah, correction. October 21st. October 14th is Night of Champions in Spokane.
Right.
But
okay.
I think this year we're not doing a ton of traveling for shows. I mean, Emerald Cup is always a no-brainer. It's a lot of fun. I love the whole weekend's fun up there.
Yeah, but, are you going to do the Northwest Championships and on November 4th and 5th and 6th?
Possibly. We haven't fully committed to that one yet. But there's a good chance just because
I'll be there and I got a team of athletes there too.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, okay. More incentive for me to show up then. So
yeah, or I can stop by and say hi on my way there maybe.
Yeah, of course. No, that goes without saying. But no, next year we're gonna load up. We're gonna do the Arnold Classic again next year. We're gonna branch out. I think we're gonna do. I'd like to do at least one show, maybe two down in Texas. They have a couple of pretty decent conventions down there. FitCon's always a lot of fun. That's in Salt Lake City, and that's usually like right before. I think April, May. They sometimes switch the dates around, but. Yeah, I think we're gonna move around a little bit more. It's fun. The expos are a lot of work, but man, they're fun. I mean, you get to interact with so many people, and you know, I enjoy that. Like that's you know, honestly kind of keeps me going and makes all of this you know, kind of breaks up the monotony for me.
Yeah, 100%. Where can people go to find more about Aesthreadics?
Well, you could definitely check us out on Instagram. We advertise heavily on there. It's just Aesthreadics. And then of course our website has everything that you would ever need. So yeah, it's just www.aesthreadics.com.
And there's an A in it because whenever I've searched for it, I always forget the A.
Oh, okay.
Aesthreadics, just like thread.
Yep, thread. If you can remember the thread part, that's usually people do THRED instead of READ. Yep. So yeah, if you can remember that part, then you're in.
Yeah. So, and Skullbellz is always with a Z on it.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks again, brother. I can't tell. Wow, I cannot. You see how many notes I took? Like these are not podcast notes. These are
nice.
These are business notes. No, seriously, man. This is not for show. Everything that you just told me, man, is getting put into action, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you, dude. Like seriously, the like every time I'm around you, you just drop what you're doing. You're nothing but encouragement, and really glad we connected. A year ago, or whatever it was. So
definitely, likewise. Yeah, no, it's definitely. Well, you know, yeah, it's. I'd look forward to working with you down the line and watching your everything that you're doing grow like a weed.
Thanks. Trying to, man. All right. Well, until our next project, I guess this is it, and we'll stay in touch until then. And I'm sure we'll see each other soon at a show in the Pacific Northwest. Not sure which one, but it'll be soon.
Definitely. Well, please keep in touch in the meantime.
Yeah. Thanks. And likewise.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this entire interview with Mr. Darren Conroy. If you found this helpful or entertaining, which I'm sure you did, because, I mean, that was an incredible conversation. I took pages of notes on it, and I really, really learned a lot. So if you did, just pay it forward and share with a friend, please. There's no fee or anything. We don't accept donations. Just help us grow the channel. we'll keep making sure that we get guests like Darren on the show. Okay, we'll keep this your number one place for entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. Two quick things before I sign off. First one is Carnivore Coach's Corner. If you have not heard about our new podcast, this is a collaboration with myself, Coach Mark from Ireland, who is basically our co-coach. He's the second set of eyes that we have on every single one of our clients, more so from a health perspective, but with my experience being more so in athletics. And then we have Jonathan Griffiths from the UK, who is the original carnivore bodybuilder. So yes, very, very niche, I know. That podcast is completely dedicated to bodybuilding on a meat-based diet. And I think you'll like it. We're about 12 episodes in, 12 sessions in so far. Episodes on this show, sessions on that show. That's how we keep them separated. It's not confusing at all, right? Okay. And then, everybody comes to the low carb space and to a meat-based diet for different reasons. Obviously, weight loss is one of them. Some people actually can't gain weight until they get their nutrition nailed down properly. And so Jordan Buffner was actually one of those cases. She's been on our podcast a couple times now with Coach Mark. And this is what she has to say after 6 months of being on our coaching plan. Thanks a lot, Jordan.
So thank you guys so much for all your help and helping me gain weight. I'm still there, still at that 108, 109 marker. And I've been working out, 4 times a week, wanting to do more even. And I don't know how we would have really gotten out of this dark cloud that we were in if we hadn't joined up and partnered with you guys back in February. It really was such a motivation for us to get healthier, to fine-tune our exercise and eating, and just having, that encouragement and the prayer, and just knowing that there's someone there, beside you and partnering with you.
Thanks so much, Jordan, for that. And thanks again, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you on episode 168. I think that'll be, that'll be next week at some point. This has been your weekly dose of entertainment, education, inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym for quite some time. Lately, it's been 2 episodes a week because there's just so many cool people to talk to, and I just can't keep my mouth shut, I guess. So as long as we got something to say, you're gonna hear more. You're gonna hear more episodes. But yeah, appreciate y'all so much again. There's a link to coaching in the show notes below. Other than that, God bless. We'll catch you on episode 168. Bye-bye.